different types of disease that are caused by the microorganisms. We learned about them. We learned some of the common sorry, disease caused by them in humans, and we were also learning about the disease that is caused by them in the plants. Okay, now you guys turn your cameras on if your connection is stable. So where we learned that some kind of disease are caused by the plants, caused by the microorganisms in plants. Namely, these diseases are caused by, like usually they are caused by bacteria and funguses, and viruses also. Let's learn about them one after another. Okay. These three are the most common plant disease. Citrus canker, which is seen in the case of citric fruits. Okay, now citrus canker, it is commonly like we have lemons. Okay, now so the lemon and the leaf of the lemon plant gets infected by a bacteria. Okay, now and there'll be brown circular patches visible on the surface of the leaf and on the fruit, on the lemon. So that is called as citrus canker. Then we have rust of wheat, which is caused by fungi, and yellow vein mosaic, which is caused by virus. Okay. Talking about this citrus canker, first of all, it is caused by bacteria. Okay. The name of the bacteria is also not important, but for reference, it is bacterium. It is Xanthomonas citri. Xanthomonas citri is the name of the bacteria responsible for citrus canker. It affects the leaves, twigs, and fruits of the citrus plant. Citrus plants, you don't understand, no? Basically, the plants that bear citrus fruits in them, that bear sour fruits, right? No? So it will affect them, and because of this, the leaves will fall down, the fruit will fall down. Right now, they will not ripe. Even without being fully ripe, they will fall down. Also, it mostly affects the plants that grows in the moist region, in humid conditions, right now, in hot and wet areas. So that is citrus canker. Okay. Next, we have leaf rust, also known as brown rust. It is caused by a fungus called as Puccinia triticina. So what happens in this? Basically, there will be fungal infection. Particularly, there are parasitic fungus that lives on the leaves or on the seed grains. Okay, now, or on the seed grains. So they will either infect the leaves / stems or the grain of the plant. Okay. Why others haven't joined today? Okay. Priyanka, you're getting it so far, right? So leaf rust, we also call that as brown rust, is caused by fungus called as Puccinia triticina. Now, this is a type of parasitic fungus. You know, fungus can have two modes of nutrition. Some of the fungus are parasitic in nature, while some of them are saprophytic in nature. So this is a parasitic type of fungus that it will live on the body of other organisms. Particularly here, it lives on the body of the wheat plant, like particularly on the seed grains and on the leaves or the stems. And it will start to obtain nutrition from it. So it is having a parasitic mode of nutrition. In parasitic mode of nutrition, we know that the organism derives its nutrition from the host organism. It lives on or inside the host organism, and from there it gets its food. Right, Abubakar? Okay, Priyanka. So that is the thing. Now, this leaf rust disease, now it can transfer, it can spread from one plant to the other plants in the field. Okay, now all the plants may get infected from this. How? So the mode of transmission is via air. Mode of transmission. Transmission here basically means that, like, how does it spread in the entire field? How does it spread from one plant to another? So mode of transmission is via air or via the seeds. As the seeds are lighter, if the seeds were to fall down and if it is come in contact with other plants, they will also get infected from this. Hope that much should be clear to everyone. It looks like Abu Bakr, you're having some network issue today.
Yes, sir.
How can it be fixed? Like, like how to fix this issue?
Sir, it is fixed now.
It is fixed now. Okay, okay, good. Mhm. So far, two plant diseases we have learned about. One was the citrus canker. Can you give an example of the plant which usually gets infected from citrus canker? Yeah, anyone? Give one example of a plant that gets infected from citrus canker.
Sir, wheat.
Wheat, no. Wheat gets infected from brown rust, no, brown rust or leaf rust. That is the wheat plant. It gets infected by a fungus named as Puccinia triticina. It's a parasitic type of fungus and causes leaf rust. Hmm. Just before this, what were we learning? Priyanka, what about you?
Sir, what is the question? Your voice was breaking.
You are also having network issue, Priyanka. The last few classes I have noticed down that there has been a continuous network issue from your side, Priyanka. And because of this, the effectiveness of the class, like for you particularly, okay, like for me, it's fine. Like I am able to hear what you guys are saying. My voice would be reaching to those whose network is good. But if this network issue continues for a very long period of time, just think about this, like how many loss will be there. Hmm? You'd be missing on so many important things then. Priyanka,
Yes, sir.
let's quickly discuss on this thing. How do we get this issue resolved? Do you face this network issue when you do some other works on internet, like
Yes, sir.
uh, like suppose if you have to search for a video on YouTube
Like I
or
think.
uh
Yes, sir. I have this issue.
you
Network.
have this issue, okay.
Yeah. Maybe
Oh.
because I
Mm.
think the network doesn't reach till here. Like I'm
Mm.
corner of my room, so
Have you tried shifting to other room, changing your study room?
the only room I have is my own and my mom's.
Okay. Okay, I was a little bit concerned about this thing because the last year also I have observed this, that you had continuous network issue. Getting it now?
Yes,
In
sir.
some way, actually, it reduces your interaction in the class. Because of network issue, your interaction in the class, it gets affected, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, no, because it is going to, in a long run, it is going to impact your studies, impact your effectiveness. So please talk to your parents, talk to your mother or father that sir was talking about this thing, like if somehow if this can be resolved. Getting it, no? If you have a Wi-Fi installed in your house, so next time suppose, or what you can do, call the service boy. Okay, call them and please tell them to get this thing resolved. All, like, they are technical people, they would be having some ideas on like how to get this thing resolved.
So my father is working like that. His job is done.
Okay, okay. Okay, let's continue as of now. So two plant diseases we have learned, Abu Bakr and Priyanka. Moments ago I asked this question, like citrus canker, so which plant gets infected by this? So here we have the lemon now. Citrus canker, it affects the leaves, twigs, and the fruit of the citrus plant. Citrus, you understand, no? That fruits which have a sour taste, like lemon.
So what about orange?
Oranges also will get infected from citrus canker. They too have a sour taste. Getting it? Hey Farhan, how are you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the thing. Next we learned
Fine,
about
sir.
the, okay, try joining the class sometime. Next, we have leaf rust, also known as brown rust. Right now, we are learning about the disease spread by the microorganisms in plants. Okay, Farhan? So we have leaf rust, also known as brown rust. It is caused by fungus named as Puccinia triticina. The name is not important, but the name of the disease is much more important. And you generally need to know that it is caused by a fungus, right? And how it spreads from one plant to another. So it will be spreading via air or the seeds. Due to air, the plants will come in contact with each other. So thereby the fungus will transfer from one plant to another. in this manner it gets impacted, it transfers. Now the question is that how is the wheat rust bad for the plant? Hmm? How is it bad? How is it detrimental to the wheat plants? Like it is going to reduce the yield of the plant, no? Right? The
Yes,
output,
sir.
like it is capable of causing a yield loss of 50% to 100% in some cases. Earlier, if the farmer was obtaining, let's say, 100 kilogram of wheat from the field, now because of this wheat rust problem, round rust or leaf rust, the yield is going to decrease, and he would be, let's say, harvesting only 20 kilogram of wheat from the field. So in this manner it will impact. Okay, now
Okay, sir.
next we have got the yellow vein mosaic virus. Okay, that is yellow vein mosaic virus. So it's a viral disease caused by the virus known as monopartite bigomovirus. Just for the reference, I'm naming the virus, although you don't have to memorize it. Okay, now, so that the context is not missed, I usually mention the name of the microbe or the pathogen responsible for it. But you have to memorize this thing, that yellow vein mosaic virus. Okay, and yellow vein mosaic is a disease that usually infects the okra. Okra, like we call this as bhendi also. Bhendi also. Okay, now some of you might be aware of this word, right? Bhendi. Okay, local name of okra here in northern India, particularly. Getting it? So in this, what basically happens? You will see that you will see that the veins from the leaves will get cleared. There will be clearance of the veins. You know that leaves have veins in them now. Then the fruit will get yellow, right? The okra will start turning yellowish in color. The growth will be impacted. There will be stunted growth of the plant. The stems and the leaves will not grow properly. Getting it now? That's the thing. So now the question is like, how is this disease going to impact the plant? So it is going to impact the plant because like it will reduce the yield. Yeah. Yes, Priyanka.
So this is a disease for only one plant.
Yeah, particularly for this plant. Okay, na? Yellow vein mosaic virus would be like yellow vein mosaic virus usually impacts okra. Okay, na? Usually impacts okra. So it reduces the crop yield. Okay, that's the thing. Now the question like, how is it transmitted? Huh? Transmission means that how it is spread simply. Okay, now how it is simply spread. Okay, now so it is spread via the insects. How? Via the insects. Insects sitting on an infected okra plant. If an insect is sitting on an infected okra plant, and if that same insect were to sit on another plant that is healthy, so it will be basically transferring the virus to the other plant. So in this manner this disease is spread. So the mode of transmission is via insects. And this disease was found for the first time in the year 1924 in Bombay. Okay, na? And then later on in Sri Lanka. Okay, so that was all about yellow vein mosaic virus. Okay, so we had learned about different kind of disease that is caused by the microorganisms in plants. So just like human beings and other animals, microorganisms cause diseases in plants also. So many plants get infected from the diseases from the so many plants get infected from the microorganisms. Okay, now so there we have wheat, even the rice plants get infected, potato, sugarcane, oranges, apples, and some other plants gets infected. You might have observed that sugarcane plant also, if it is cut from the middle, sometimes there can be some red redness visible in the flesh of the sugarcane. The internal juicy part of the sugarcane may look red in color. So that is actually an infection. Okay, it is suffering from a disease. Getting it? Have you guys been to a farm? Like, have you guys been to a crop field where sugarcane are grown? Hmm?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No?
But then
Oh.
I have
Mhm.
eyed them.
You have. Huh?
Tonga.
Okay. 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 Like here, in sometimes in some festivals now, like in some festivals, I think Priyanka, it is sold. Particularly here in northern India, sugarcane is associated with some festival also. I'm forgetting the name, but there's abundance of sugarcane in the market during that festival. So they are sold like as as in Hindu religion, as they'd be performing some prayers. So there, I think sugarcane is used in that in order to do some rituals. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, sir. I
It
don't know
is
if
sure.
there is any use, but then
Hmm.
we buy them.
Yeah, getting it. So that's it.
I have seen this red color.
You have yeah. Okay. In fact, like we also sometime would be as a like many years ago, like we also used to purchase it from the market, and we used to take the juice out of it and drink it. So we learned about the disease causing microorganisms in plants. Namely, we had learned about the yellow vein mosaic virus, rust of wheat, and citrus canker. Okay. Now it's not like only the plants and the we humans are getting infected from the microorganisms. Even there are animals that get infected from, like the cattle's, poultry, birds. They also get infected from the different kind of disease now. So there are some diseases in the animals, like in cattle or poultry, birds, which we should be learning about. So we have disease causing microorganisms in animals, particularly in cattle and in poultry, birds. Okay, now. So some of the examples of disease caused in animals by the microorganisms are, like we have foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease. Okay. Then some other disease are like anthrax, anthrax, and then aspergillosis. Aspergillosis. See, foot and mouth disease. It is a disease of animals like cattle, and it is caused by a virus. So the animals that they get infected from this is cattles. So cattles are infected with this disease. The main target areas which get infected from the disease is their foot and their mouth. Hence, the name is foot and mouth disease. Okay, na? And the causative organism, like the organism responsible for this, is that it's a virus. Causative organism means the organism that is responsible for this disease. So here it's a virus. Okay, now, so the cattle that will suffer from this disease will get blisters on feet and mouth. Getting it now? You understand that what is blisters? Blisters will be there on the feet and the mouth of the cattles, particularly. Getting what I'm trying to say? Sometimes, suppose if we get injured right now, or sometimes if our skin were to um, experience rigorous friction, okay, na? So some type of fluid will accumulate under the layer of skin. Getting it? Suppose you are playing some sport and accidentally you were injured. So sometimes there will be some fluid-like material that develops under the layer of the skin. Has it ever happened with any of you? Unfortunately, huh? Okay, okay, I can see it on your hand. Yeah, looks like that. Getting it? So it happens sometimes, right? So particularly what will happen in the cattle, so they can suffer from this. The cattle suffering from this disease will get blisters on their feet and mouth, and eventually if it is not treated on time, they can even die from this. Okay, so blisters on feet and mouth. Getting it, Farhan? Next we have anthrax. So anthrax, it's a very it is said to be a dangerous disease of the cattle again, and it is caused by a bacterium. Okay, so it's a bacterial disease of the animals. The causative microorganism of anthrax disease is a bacterium that we call as Bacillus anthracis. So here again, cattle are infected by this disease. Then talking about the causative organism. Hold on, what happened to this? Causative organism. So that is a bacteria. That's a bacteria. And the name of the bacteria is Bacillus. Hold on. It is Bacillus anthracis. Okay, now Priyanka? Bacillus
Yes, sir.
anthracis. Now, this bacteria anthracis, this bacteria Bacillus, it's Bacillus. Okay, it's not visible properly, but that is Bacillus, Bacillus anthracis. That is Anthracis, Bacillus anthracis. So this disease, the bacteria Bacillus anthracis, which causes the anthrax disease, it was discovered for the very first time in the year 1867 by Robert Koch. So who discovered this bacteria? Yes, Farhan. It was Robert Koch, and that in the year 1876. Okay. After this, we
Okay,
have
sir.
aspergillosis. Now, aspergillosis is a disease of the poultry birds, and it is caused by a fungus. So, poultry birds are infected by this disease, and the causative organism is a fungus. So, fungus. So that is the thing. Okay. So these were some of the disease that is caused by the microorganisms in animals. Next, we are going to learn about the food poisoning. Okay, now food poisoning first. Then we will continue with preservation of the foods. You might have seen that suppose if you have purchased a bread from the market or from the store, okay, and if you were to leave it in the open for some time, for a few days, then you can observe that it will get spoiled by the growth of fungus on it. They can be green or bluish patches developing on it, right? So if also if the food is not
Yes.
covered properly, if it is not stored properly, right? So then it gets spoiled by the action of microorganisms, particularly by the action of bacteria and fungus, right? So microorganisms that grows on our food now, sometimes they produce toxic substances, poisonous substances, right? And the food that is spoiled in this manner, you might observe that it will start to give a foul smell, give a bad smell. Getting it, everyone? What I'm saying? If the food has been infected
Yes,
by
sir.
microorganisms, or particularly if a particular food item contains so much of microorganisms in it, unusually high amount of microorganisms are found to be living in it. So that food will give you a foul smell, a bad smell, right now, and it may even taste bad. So that is not fit for eating now. But suppose if such a food has been eaten, so then what will happen? If suppose such a food has been eaten by the person, so thereby it will lead to food poisoning. Getting it? So now the question is like, what is food poisoning? Right, Farhan? So the disease that is caused due to the presence of a large number of microorganisms in the food, and also due to the presence of the toxic substances in the food, right now. So that is called as food poisoning. It happens sometimes that if, let's say, if you guys were to eat junk food, street food, although one should never consume the street food or the junk food. Spring, Abu Bakr is not here now. Why don't you turn your camera on, Farhan? As for you, Prinka, I understand this network issue. Farhan, turn your camera on. How do I know that you guys are there in the class or you're actively listening to what I'm saying? Yes, Farhan? Okay, see. So I was saying that if a person has eaten the spoiled food, let's say, or has eaten the food from the street where hygiene is not taken care of, they don't take care of hygiene. So thereby there will be presence of large number of microorganisms like bacteria and fungus in the food, and they will also they will release the poisonous substances into the food, right? So when we consume them, we suffer from some diseases. We like if a person has suffered from food poisoning, so he will be having the following symptoms. Like he will suffer from vomiting, diarrhea, that is loose motion, pain in the abdomen, headache, and even fever. Right? So that is the thing.
Yes.
Okay. Hmm. I have heard that you guys eat lots of street food, huh? Yes, Springer?
Sir, no.
No? Okay.
It's only in India, so.
Hmm. Okay. So the disease caused due to the due to the due to the presence of a large number of microorganisms, particularly bacteria and fungus, are responsible for this. Bacteria and fungi in the food or sorry, or due to presence of toxic substances in food. Okay, in food, and that toxic substance in the food has been formed due to the action of the bacteria, action of the microorganisms. So toxic substances in food formed due to action of microorganisms. So that is what we call as food poisoning. It's called food poisoning. Hope that should be clear to everyone. Okay. Next, we are going to learn about the food preservation methods. Okay, now also one more thing. So what are the question is what are the symptoms of it? So symptoms basically, as I was saying that if a person has suffered from food poisoning, so he'd be having the following symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, diarrhea, or fever, abdomen pain, etc. Okay, now one more thing, there are some examples of bacteria which are commonly known for causing food poisoning. Okay, now like we have the examples of the bacteria that is responsible for the most common bacteria that leads to food poisoning, like salmonella. Salmonella is an example. So that's the thing. Okay. Also, you know that when the food gets spoiled, isn't it a chemical change that's happening? If a food is getting spoiled, can't we say that a chemical change must have happened there? Right, Farhan? Farhan, are you there in the class? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, you're
Can
not
you hear me, sir?
responding. Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, you're getting all the things we are discussing here now.
Yes, sir.
Why aren't you asking any questions or responding actively? Hmm?
Sir, if we eat them, we'll get diarrhea.
Yeah, one of several things can happen. Either the person can suffer from vomiting, diarrhea, fever, abdomen pain, and headache, all of them at the same time, or at least the person will suffer from diarrhea or fever. Okay, no? Or in some
Okay,
cases,
sir.
even vomiting. So the toxic substances, your body cannot digest it, and neither it can pass it down further, neither it can digest it. So thereby vomiting happens. Right? What is the most common cause of vomiting? When does a person suffer from vomiting? Yeah. Some of you, let's say, suppose unfortunately in the past might have suffer from vomiting? So when does the person suffer from
2
vomiting?
days ago, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right. So there must be some infection in our stomach that could be the cause of vomiting, right? Or food poisoning also,
Yes.
right? No, food poisoning, and
Sir,
then this
isn't vomiting a good thing?
vomiting. In a way, we can say that vomiting is a good thing because your body is expelling out the unwanted substances, right? Now, also after vomiting, we feel better. After vomiting, we feel a bit relaxed because now your body has expelled the unwanted substance. Okay, now. Okay, like 1 month ago, I was traveling to a state. Usually, it never happens with me that I usually don't suffer from motion sickness, but this time it happened with me, and because of that, I vomited. Getting it? So due to motion sickness, also it happens. Getting it? Due to motion sickness, you understand now, right? When we are traveling by car, by boat, or by plane, so it can trigger motion sickness and can lead to
Yes, sir.
vomiting. Sometimes if a person has been suffering from severe case of migraine, you understand now, you guys, migraine, it's a
Yes, sir.
pain in the head, like it leads to people will be suffering from headache in this condition. So that can also lead to vomiting in many cases. Okay, also some other reasons for this could be like if there has been a side effect of a medicine, or if someone consumes alcohol too much, someone drinks alcohol, so that also leads to vomiting. Okay, good. Next, let us learn about the food preservation. Okay, see, as we know that if the food materials like milk, fruits, vegetables, cooked food, etc., they get spoiled easily because they contain a lot of water in them now, and because of the presence of water, microorganisms can grow in them easily. So we can prevent the spoilage and contamination of the easily spoilable food materials like milk, like fruits, vegetables, meat, fish, and the cooked food by proper methods, by techniques of food preservation. Right now, so the process in which the food materials are given a suitable physical or chemical treatment to prevent their spoilage is called as food preservation. What what did I say? The process the process in which food materials, whether it be milk, fish, meat, vegetables, fruits, or cooked food, they are given a suitable physical or chemical treatment to prevent their spoilage. That is called as food preservation. Okay, no? And food preservation will be helping in preventing the loss of nutritional value. Okay, no? It will increase the shelf life of the food. It will ensure that it is edible for a longer period of time. Okay, no? And also to maintain its nutritional value and its quantity as well. So food preservation methods can be further divided into physical and chemical methods. Into physical and chemical methods. Okay, we'll be learning about that. Like physical methods would basically include sun drying or dehydration. Physical method will include the steps in which you don't have to add any substances to it. You will either increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. Okay, na? So there you'd be having sun drying or dehydration, heating, cooling, deep freezing, right? Deep freezing. So those are the physical treatments that is given to prevent the food from being spoiled. Or what we can do, we can add sugar, we can add salt, we can add even mustard oil and vinegar. We can use some special chemicals, preservatives like sodium bisulfate can be used, right now. Benzoates can be used here. Look over here. So chemical preservatives, chemical substances are also available in the market that can be added to the food to prevent its spoilage. Okay, no? So we have some examples like benzoic acid, sorbic acid, lactic acid. They can also be added to the food. And other than that, we have some other chemicals like sodium benzoate, okay, or sodium. What do we say? Sodium. metabisulfite here. So we have sodium metabisulfite. What are these? These names might seem difficult to memorize, but actually, see, basically, these are the chemical substances, chemical preservatives that is added to the food in order to prevent it from being spoiled. Okay, na? So both physical and chemical treatments are given in order to prevent the spoilage of the food. You guys are getting it now? How physical and chemical methods of preserving the food is different. In the physical method, you would be either increasing the temperature or decreasing the temperature, or you would be storing them in airtight containers, deep freezing them, heating them, getting it. But when we give the chemical treatment to the food in order to store them, so we would be using like mustard oil and vinegar can be added, sugar can be added to the food, salt is added to the food, then some chemical preservatives are added, right now. So in this chemical preservatives like benzoates, particularly which one? The sodium benzoate is added, sodium metabisulfite, lactic acid, even citric acid can be added. So both physical and chemical treatment can be given to the food. Is that much clear to everyone? Also, it will depend upon what food item we have. Okay, na? Because like we cannot add sugar to meat, right? In order to preserve it. Farhan and Abubakar, turn your cameras on and tell me if you guys are actually getting the things being discussed here or not. Do not stay silent in the class.
Yes.
Because like if it's up to me, like if you say like I can just finish the chapter in just 3 to 4 classes, whether you understand or not. But that is not the way how I take classes. I try to ensure that you guys understand the concepts. Okay, no? Because if you don't, then it will impact your studies, it will impact your exam. Okay. So let us quickly learn about the different methods over here, right? So talking about pasteurization, the guy that you are looking at here now, his name is Louis Pasteur. He had some important contributions. First of all, like he discovered this method of pasteurization, which we are going to discuss. Other than that, he also discovered one more thing, that is fermentation. He discovered fermentation also. Okay. Now, in pasteurization, what is done? We would be storing packaged and non-packaged foods like milk and fruit juices can be stored via the pasteurization method. In this, basically, what is being done? Suppose we have taken milk in these big steel containers. Milk has been taken. First of all, they will be cooled down at a low temperature of 4 degrees Celsius. So it will kill so many bacteria, so many microorganisms found to be living in it will be getting killed, because some of the microorganisms may not be able to survive at a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius, but some of them may be able to survive. Some of them will still be left in the milk. So then the milk will be heated to 71 degrees Celsius for about 15 seconds to kill some more microorganisms. And then again, it will be cooled down back to 4 degrees Celsius quickly. Right? So we are cooling it, heating it, then cooling it. So in this manner, most of the microorganisms or organisms found to be living in the milk will be killed. Okay? Or either their metabolic activities, their rate of multiplication will be slowed down. It's not like 100% of the microorganisms in the milk will be killed, because if that was the case, it could be stored forever. Okay. Like pasteurized milk, when you purchase the pasteurized milk from the market, it also has an expiry date. We have to use it in that certain period of time. Okay. So this process reduces the spoilage of the milk and the food juices. That's the thing. Wherever anyone will have any confusion, just raise your hand. Okay. Next is salting, and salting is the oldest method used for food preservation. In this, basically, salt will be added to the food items. Like, suppose we have to store a piece of meat, has to be stored. Okay, now a piece of meat, let us say, has to be stored over here. Getting it? So We know that meat contains high amount of moisture in it. High amount of moisture will be present in it. So if anything, any edible substance contains high amount of moisture, it is easily going to get spoiled. So what we will do, or earlier what was being done, lots of salt were sprinkled over it. Lots and lots of salt were sprinkled over it. And what the salt does, salt would be absorbing the water. It absorbs moisture, right? It absorbs moisture from the food, and then it makes an unfavorable environment for the microorganisms. Like low amount of water that is not liked by the microorganisms. Okay, na? So there they will not grow. And also, since there is high amount of salt added to it, so it makes a very extreme environment for some of them. So hence, very few bacteria would be able to survive in that excessive high salt condition. Many food items like some vegetables, some fruits, fish, meat, and many more substances are preserved in this method. It's one of the oldest method used for food preservation. Back in the day, when people had to food for many months, for many years, so they would be relying upon these type of food items that has been stored by salting. Getting it? Because the food supply might not be available everywhere. So they will have stored meat. Okay, na? That meat might be like 3-4 months old, but they will still be able to consume it. So they will take a piece of meat, boil it in water, add some spices, and eat it. So that is how back in the day people used to survive and fight wars, and basically survive in extreme conditions or in times of famine. Got it, no, Priyanka, Abu Bakr, and Farhan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next is canning. So this is a modern method which has become very popular as the industrial revolution took place. So this method came up. Here we basically remove the excessive amount of oxygen. Like we basically remove the oxygen from the can, and then we put the food items in it, and then we tightly pack the lid. So that is called as canning. We know that oxygen is a basic need for microorganisms to grow. So if they don't have availability of oxygen, their growth will slow down. They won't grow, and hence food will be preserved. Next is drying or dehydration. That is also one of the oldest method used for food preservation method. Like it is an ancient method used for food preservation, right? So in this, food items are basically dried in the sun, right? Sun dried, or basically dried by heating it. Okay. Certain type of fruits, vegetables, mushrooms, meats, and many more food items are preserved by this method. Here you can see like how the mushroom has been dried and has been stored. Here some fruit item has been dried and will be stored for many months, or even for years it can be stored. Also, you guys know, like you guys know about resin, right? Now basically we take some grapes, and grapes are dried, and after being dried it converts into resin. So in this method grapes can be preserved and can be eaten. Resin is basically like a dry fruit. Okay, no? So dehydration or drying stops the growth of the bacteria and some other microorganisms, because since there's less amount of water in it, in this manner the food can be preserved. Another is the freezing method. It's a modern version of food preservation. Right now we all have refrigerators at our home, right? So we will be able to store the food items for a good period of time, right? So how does it work? This is freezing now. It does not kill all the bacteria and the funguses, but what it does, it slows down the spoilage of the food. How do they do so? See, we will be lowering the temperature so low, like it is reduced to such an extent that the different functions that the microorganisms have to perform to stay alive, like they have to carry out ingestion, digestion, absorption of the food, they have to do reproduction and all that, it gets slowed down. Getting it, Farhan? It slows down, right? So in this manner, food can be preserved for a good period of time. But that does not mean that you can put a food item in the refrigerator and that is going to remain fresh for 6 months or for about a year. Because freezing only slows down the growth of microorganisms in it. Does not kill
Sir,
them entirely. Uh-huh.
sir, what about canned?
What about
Because
cans?
there's gonna Yes, sir. Airtight cans.
Yeah, that can be stored for a good period of time. Getting it? But that also has an expiry date. Getting it? No? The canned food items or the um, cold drinks in the can, they also have expiry date. Getting it? Because after a certain period of time, uh, they will lose their flavor, and they will like certain reactions are happening inside that also. No, even cold drinks, they have expiry date because uh, it's basically containing acids in it, right now. That is the thing. So if someone consumes them after the best before date, after the expiry date, so they can have some health issue problems as well. In fact, some drinks, particularly like the juices, they have a stricter use by date due to their perishable nature. They may perish very easily in comparison to the carbonated drinks. Okay, now carbonated drinks, although it can be consumed even after the expiry date, they are generally safe, right? Like as long as they are unopened and have been stored properly, but the quality will decline. Okay, na? And particularly there will be a loss of carbonation. Like there will be no fizziness in that. Understand the fizziness, right?
Yes.
That is the thing. Yeah. Another method of food preservation is by fermentation. Okay, na? See, in fermentation, basically the form of the food is being changed. It is being converted into some other form, right? Like for example, in fermentation, what do we do? Like we take some fruit items, we add yeast powder to it, and under the anaerobic condition, that converts into alcohol. So the fruit items have been converted into alcohol. The nutritional value is being maintained, right? Okay, now. So that is one of the important method. That is fermentation. It is done under anaerobic condition, meaning that under the absence of oxygen, which involves a chemical change in food that uses organic acids to convert microorganisms. These anaerobic conditions occurs in the absence of oxygen. Okay. Further, we have vacuum packing. It is also a modern method of food preservation. It is done by the help of food vacuum machines. In this method, food items are packed in a bag, and all the air present inside that bag is removed, and then it is tightly sealed. So this method increases the shelf life of the food because the microorganisms under anaerobic conditions, most of them will not be able to grow and multiply. So many food items like cereals, nuts, cheese, coffee, and many more can be preserved by this method. Getting it? Okay. And where did that one go? We had one more called as by addition of sugar also. Food items are stored. Okay, now you must have eaten fruit jellies right now, isn't it? Jams, jellies. Sugar can also be used as a preservative. Okay, now sugar can also be used as a preservative in making jams and jellies. Let me write it over here. By adding sugar. Okay, no? By adding sugar, also food can be preserved. Okay. So there are different food items that are preserved in the form of jams and jellies. Like if you have a piece of pineapple or guava, you cannot keep it fresh for a very long period of time. But what you can do, you can preserve a pineapple, or orange, a ripe mango, or an apple, or let's say a guava, in the form of jams and jellies for an extended period of time, for a considerable time. Getting it now? Like for many years, it can be stored. Got it, Priyanka and everyone?
Yes.
Now the
Yes.
question is like, how does the addition of sugar help in this? How does the addition of sugar help in this? Like we have ripe mango, oranges, pineapple, let us suppose. So what do? We convert them into jams or jellies. How do we do so? In the Here we basically add sugar to them. We add sugar to them. Now, when excessive amount of sugar item is added to this, it makes an unfavorable environment for the microorganisms to grow. When Sugar in high concentration is added to it, so thereby microorganism will not grow. Hmm. Have you guys ever observed this thing that the sweets do not get spoiled very easily? They can be consumed for an extended period of time. If you were to went to a sweet shop, so you will see that he would be selling the sweets that have been made a week ago. Getting it, Priyanka, Farhan? Getting it, Abubakar? Why? Because in the
Yes.
making of the sweet, so much of sugar is added, and it makes an unfavorable environment for the bacteria to grow. So hence, its shelf life is increased, like it can be consumed for a longer period of time. So that was all about the food preservation methods, and let us talk about like how it is important, right? So it increases the shelf life of the food. Shelf life here basically means so like for how long it can be consumed. It prevents the growth of microorganisms, minimizes the spoilage of the food items. It also allows you to taste a variety of food products in any season and in any area. Now, with the help of modern methods of food preservation methods, even in the off season, you can taste a food item. Even it is if it is no longer being grown on the field, you can consume that as it has been. It can be stored via deep freezing or some other methods. Then it ensures the quality of the food and prevents food poisoning. If a food is left in the open, so thereby there the chances of food poisoning obviously, but if it is kept in the refrigerator or given a proper chemical treatment, so then it can prevent food poisoning. Also, food products can be stored easily in this manner. So that was the advantage of this. Now in the chapter there's just one topic left to be discussed that will take about 10 minutes to discuss. So that I'm thinking to do in the next class. And in the next class after this, will be starting a new chapter. Okay, now as of now, let's do some of the questions quickly in the time that we have left. Yeah. Anyone can answer the question, and right here in the class, anyone can answer. So the host for malaria causing protozoan, yeah?
A.